really honored that Ricardo asked me to fill in for him. He's in a position, family position that I was in earlier in the year, and life sometimes happens. But I'm really honored that he asked me to moderate this, and Ken as well. The department's so phenomenal, and I'm so happy to be teaching in this department. All right, I was going to go across the board, but how should we do this? Ken, introduce, have them sit down? Okay, so I'm going to start with Lola Zhang, who also took digital painting with me. And I love the fact you still have them. And I taught three students in this group. Lola is senior concept artist at Sony Interactive at Sucker Punch Productions. Gigantic position. I've been following you throughout your career since you graduated. And you've worked with Microsoft, NetEase, AA game projects, Ghost of Yodi, do I pronounce that right? Yote, Halo, Infinity, and graduated in 2021. I can't believe it was 2021. It just goes so fast. Everybody, a big hand for Lola Zhang. Second seat. Lola, second seat. Yeah. Another amazing student. I've also known for a long time. And it's funny how you connect with students. And I'm still best friends with some of my fellow alumni that I graduated with. We were friends for life. We still do dinner and we still go out, still work with them. I was telling Evgeny, I'm working with one of them right now on a production. Erin, follow your career as well. And it's just so great to see you again. Erin has moved around as well and landed in, like Lola, one incredible spot. Interned at Disney, worked at Disney, worked in Italy, if I'm right. A studio in Italy, yep. But sometimes those are the best jobs.
It was very chill.
Yeah, very chill.
I like their work.
Yes. And Cartoon Network. Erin right now is working in visual development for Netflix. Congratulations. You graduated also in 2022, a year after Lola, and congratulations. Can't wait to hear some stories. Thanks. Okay, Royce. Also a student during the Zoom years. And we survived the Zoom years. Yeah. Royce is a concept artist, worked at Blizzard, huge, and is concept artist right now for Diablo and still going with Diablo. Still working with Diablo as well? Fantastic. Royce graduated 2022 as well. Congratulations. Thomas. Okay. It's really amazing to read this stuff. Color and I, you worked at Sony Pictures Animation, Nickelodeon, Netflix Animation, and Animal Logic. Animal Logic is great to work with. Worked with them a couple times. And we were just talking about that earlier. They're such a great studio to work with. Thomas, you graduated in 2013 or 14? 2014. Still looking for, are you still working right now with studio?
Not right now.
Okay, very good. And we talked about how to keep the workflow going. I talk about this with my class because studios ramp up, then they ramp down, and then you have a gap. And then you freelance, keep the network going, keep the connecting the dots, and just stay employed for your whole career. Thomas, it's an honor as well. Okay, Lucas. you started your career in games as part of Outsource Studio. And who else on the panel worked with Outsource? Thought I saw another one that worked at Outsource Studios. Yes. So Lucas has worked in such IPs as God of War, Valorant, Call of Duty. Know some other Art Center grads that are working at Call of Duty. Graduated in 2019 and 2017. Okay. Have 29. Oh yeah, 2017. But you're on Call of Duty in 2019. Yep. So you co-founded ArtSource Studio, and are you creating IPs at Outsource?
No, I've moved on since then.
Okay, very good. And you're currently lead concept artist at Bad Robot Games. That's huge. Congratulations. Thank you. Haque, you have to look up the art of all these artists because Haque has a career that I kind of talk about. You play in a lot of fields. And I love artists that play in a lot of fields because it keeps you employed forever. And some of my favorite directors, Julian Schnabel, plays in the same fields. Graduated in 2015, founder of Kalpana Studio, worked in video games, film, TV, and commercial industry. Your projects include Outer Wilds, Maquette, and Avatar 2 and 3. Your avatar work is stunning. Haque, thank you for coming. Okay. Thank you, Lola. All right, let's just start the ball rolling with your first big break in the business. Lola, what was your first big break in the business, and how did you land your first job after graduating? You have to.
Oh.
I think each of you have a mic.
I think it's just these.
Oh, it is?
Hello?
We're cutting corners.
Yeah, so I actually landed my first job, which is Sucker Punch, before I graduated from ArtCenter back in 2021, August. So I think starting that year, I started to getting some studio riches from 343, Bungie, Blizzard, and then Sucker Punch reached out around April with the art test.
Wow.
I was panicking that time, but totally rebelled that whole week. And then I thought that's like, no, there's no chance I was getting that job, but turned out I got the interview after that, and basically crammed like a Japanese history lesson 101 in one day, and then did all of research in like basically one day, because like deadline was like I think within 1 week you have to turn in like a samurai design, and that has zero knowledge on any historical samurai. But that was a really fun experience. And
so
then
it was a test.
It was an art test,
Yes.
full on art test with a kind of like design needs. Like there's 3 options you can choose, but I picked like samurai.
Yeah, it's going to happen. You're going to get an art test. I've had to do the same, and you do it like it's the last big painting of your life.
Yep. That was a roller coaster ride for sure, but learned a lot, like time management.
Yeah, I talk about that as well in my class, doing tests. And sometimes you just can't turn them down. You have to do them. That's your foot in the door.
That's real, yeah. But yeah, that's basically how I landed my first job.
Yep. Are you in love with the fact that you're doing character development, costume, wardrobe?
Yeah, that's at that time I was taking Grun's historical, like the world costume design. So that helped a ton. That's like perfect timing.
Yes.
So I was taking that class while during the art test. So it's helped out a ton. Also your class,
Very
for
good.
sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it. That concludes today.
That's the core message. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were working 8th term?
So yeah, like my last term, which is 2021. So I basically got like that offer.
Ah, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And then basically I got offer around like April, and then I started working at Sucker Punch in September that year,
Fantastic.
and it's been going almost 5 years.
Did I see that you were at another studio in between?
That was a 343 industry. That's when I worked on Halo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's also when happened in 8th term, the last term.
How was that experience?
Fun sci-fi.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Love sci-fi.
That's my jam.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Erin?
My first big break after graduation, right? That was the question. Well, technically, I worked a couple of freelance opportunities right after graduation. One of them was working with an ad agency. And I met recruiters through a grad show, thankfully. So I'm glad that worked out. And a couple other freelance opportunities. But I think my biggest, most, I guess, prominent break was being reinvited back to Netflix to bring the current movie that I'm on, go through the whole production process. And I'm still at this job. They've announced a movie. It's called Steps. You should check it out. It's supposed to come out at the end of the year. But how I got to this opportunity was, it was actually during COVID. There was like a big boom in hiring in the entertainment industry because everyone's stuck at home. So what do? They watch Netflix, they watch TV, movies. And I feel really lucky because it was the director who approached me back in 2021. And she said she found my portfolio through Instagram, and she was an up and coming director, and she wanted to give opportunities to up and coming talent. And she asked if I wanted to work with her to develop the pitch for this movie that she's working with Netflix to develop and eventually get a green light for. So I worked with her for about 6 months during COVID era, and thankfully the project got greenlit. And about 4 years later, I got reinvited back to the movie as like a production visual development artist. And I feel like that's the biggest break because this is my first time kind of working as a visual development artist through the whole production process. I get to see all the beauties and the uglies of like working it like in the trenches to get a movie made and how much work that takes, and to be able to talk to editors, technical artists, just everyone that's part of the process, writers, all that. So it's been very insightful, and I've met a lot of really talented people and learned a lot more about the industry, got demystified of the industry. So I'd say that was my most, I guess, impactful big break post-graduation. Yeah.
I am going to ask about the trenches down the road.
Okay.
Because
I'll talk about the trenches.
Yes, I have stories, and you guys are going to have a lot of stories. And there are the trenches for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
It's hard work making movies.
It is hard work making movies, but rewarding.
It is. Yeah. I feel very grateful. Sometimes some days feel like I just wake up and I pick up crayons and then I get paid for just doodling. So just grateful about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Royce, beautiful.
I mean, mine's pretty straightforward actually. So I graduated like fall 2022. So about a year before that, I think my art director on Diablo, John Mueller, put out like they might be looking for a concept artist. So I reached out, had an interview with them, the whole thing, and they were looking for full time, and I was still in school, so they just told me, reach back out when you graduate. So told me to finish school first, which I did. And I graduated, reached back out like early 2023, kind of redid the whole interview process. And that was really it. That's really the one big job I worked on since then. And
it's still going strong.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Royce.
For me, I was a lot like all of you at the NTEX show today. I was at an internship show would have been 2010 or something like that. And a few of my friends had prepped me ahead of time to say they had done an internship with Lin Pictures, which was partnered with Warner Brothers at the time under Dan Lin. They really liked their experience with that internship, and they gave me the heads up like, hey, they're probably going to look for an intern this summer. My work wasn't the best. I had my work up on the wall just like you guys do here. And I don't know, Saiful, you could probably corroborate. There's so many amazing artists, so many students, and the way I differentiated myself was not through my work necessarily, but doing research on this company specifically. And I looked up all the producers, knew what they looked like, knew who they were, read about what projects they worked on. And one of them happened to walk in through the internship show, and I recognized her, and I said, "Hey, you're this person." And she was like, "Oh, you know who I am?" And I was like, "Yep." I talked to Larry. I heard about the internship. It sounds really fun. And she took my card. I got an interview later, and through that process of that internship, I ended up meeting Chris McKay, who would later go on to direct Lego Batman. And that was my first job in the industry. So he called me up when I was graduating. So I interned with him probably in like my 5th term. And then, when I graduated, he was like, "Do you want to come to Australia?" And I was like, "Okay, cool, let's go." And I went to Animal Logic for 6 months. So.
Fantastic. What a great first gig. Lucas.
Sorry.
Let's see. I guess after graduating I graduated spring 2017. I got recruited by a concept outsource studio called Section Studios, just to give them more concept support on all the different teams and studios that they were assisting with. Ended up picking them because of that, like just being able to get exposed to a lot of different teams, a lot of different types of companies, and a lot of different types of projects. And that's been really rewarding, I think, just to be able to kind of taste test a whole bunch of different places at once.
How many studios before Bad Robot?
Like that I've been employed by,
Yes.
or just worked
The stepping
with?
stone of the career.
2.
2, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this career is definitely transient, and you can go from one studio to another.
Yeah.
Lisa Keene, head of Disney Animation, who graduated in my class, has had the longest career in a studio ever. And she's still there and on Frozen 10 now. So, and good. So yeah, I always like to know how many studios before you landed. I'm going to ask again on the way back, because that's always interesting, and students need to know that it is a stepping stone. And the studio industry ramps up, it ramps down, and then you have to move on to the next studio. And hopefully at Bad Robot, it lasts for a long time. That's a great studio.
Yeah. I guess two. Does it count if one of them was of my own making?
That counts.
All right, cool. 2.
Yes. Sai.
Trying to think of the short version of this answer.
There's no short version. Go for it.
I graduated, you said 2015?
Let's see. Okay, I have you here.
I only remember things that are
graduating
important.
2015.
Yeah. First big break. So when I was doing my graduation project, I kind of turned the internet completely off for about a year. Stopped looking at stuff. Because up until that point, I wanted to shape myself into a studio. I wanted to be like Naughty Dog. I wanted to be like that concept artist, because I was really scared. School was expensive, and so I need to land a job. So I was trying to contort myself into being right for Disney, and I really didn't want to do that. So after graduation, I applied to every big studio, and a majority of them said yes.
Fantastic. Your work's amazing, Sai.
Thank you. I ended up not going to any of them.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually went to Section.
Mm-hmm.
There was a small studio in downtown LA with a bunch of crazy guys playing with VR tech with this really interesting project. I'm like, all right, this is crazy. I like this shit. Because everyone else was kind of doing the same thing in different ways. My first big break was while I was at Section. I got an email from Lightstorm, from James Cameron's team, That project, I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So that was the first big break. But the lesson was to not contort myself to a studio. I'd rather just stay who I am, and then hopefully someone will want me.
That's good for a diverse career as well. And I like that concept as a business person. And because you want to, and I'd like to talk about that in my class as well, that, you know, how do you work on Harry Potter and Digimon as the same artist, same concept, definitely. And question coming back, starting with you, Sai. I'm going to ask this a couple different ways because we have a lot of students here. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently at ArtCenter as a student? Because this is important, and even Sai giving current advice, I think, is important as well. Hopefully everybody could hear. Did everybody hear that?
2 parts to that.
2 parts.
First part, absolutely nothing.
Okay, fantastic.
No regrets.
Beautiful.
No such thing as making a mistake. In fact, make as many as you can. Second part, if I were to change a single thing, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Superb answer. Love that answer. I had a guest speaker once, and the student asked the guest speaker, "What did you learn at ArtCenter?" And he said, "Everything." Sai, I feel exactly the same. And I show my first term ID card, and I'm a kid in headlights that knows nothing. And I love your answer. Lucas, same question.
Similar, honestly, similar answer. Like, if I really had to force like a change, it'd probably be to do similar to what you mentioned, right? About not contorting myself to kind of what was happening in the concept art world at the time. I don't regret it because I think it gave me a lot of the applicable skills to use, like once I got into work. And it helped me, it just, you know, it helped sharpen me for what I had to do. I think maybe I would have taken the opportunity to stretch myself in school into different, even majors, like different classes from different departments. I think, you know, looking back, I'm happy with what I get to do now, right? Like, we get to create worlds for people. We get to inspire other, not just like the audiences who enjoy our work, but also our teammates who we're working alongside. But, you know, I think at the core of it, I like to think of what we do as problem solving, like creative problem solving. We happen to do it through drawing pictures a lot. But I wonder sometimes, you know, what other doors might have opened to me had I been willing to experiment more. Especially, you know, I assume you're all in school right now. There's no better time to be making mistakes and trying new things. And you're surrounded by peers of all different kinds and types, different interests. I mean, there's a lot of value in that.
Lucas, another great answer. It's funny because as faculty, we filled out a form, what we suggest to make the school better. And my answer was cross-training to different departments. And you get, the education grows so much broader and bigger when you're working in different departments, and it works different parts of the brain as well. And I love that answer because I feel exactly the same. Try different departments because you're just going to expand your education and your creative resources are just going to grow. So that was a superb answer as well. Thomas.
Yeah, for me, I think when I was at Art Center, I came in fresh out of high school at the time. It was less common. I feel like a lot of people came in, they were professionals already in the industry, or maybe they'd had a lot more life experience. They were in their 20s, sometimes 30s. And they were coming here to really refine that skill. I was having to learn all of that on the go. And many of you now are probably in that position. So coming from that perspective, like I did try as hard as I could. And I feel like I took it very seriously. But one thing I would have changed maybe would have been to connect more with the people around me, particularly from other majors, particularly from different disciplines. And I have one friend who's in illustration who went on to later become an art director. And, you know, I'm still close with that person now, but it's like, how many more experiences of like other people from, you know, I don't think I met a single person from, let's say, film or something like that, that I was like, I wonder what those people are up to. I'm sure they're doing great things. And it's like, when you're here, you have a very special moment. The people you're in class with, the people you're learning from are not just your instructors, but you're learning from each other. And I feel like I got a lot out of my fellow classmates. And even recently, I just took a class online, and I met one of the students here who was taking that class. And it was wonderful to be inspired and learn from them. And it's like, I'm excited to go sketch with that person, learn more from that person. And you kind of just feed off each other with that energy. And I think that's what I would try to do more of if I was back in school.
Are you reconnecting with some of your peers at the time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just had a call the other day. One of my friends was visiting LA that I graduated with. And some of you may know Ahmed Al-Douri. And he's an amazing artist. And when we were in school, he was like this great, amazing artist. And I was like just learning and trying to catch up to somebody, you know, always viewing it through this competition lens. And, you know, you don't have to do that. It's like, that's somebody that I built a friendship with then, and then we kind of lost contact over the years. And just recently we've been able to talk again. And it's so heartwarming to reconnect, learn where people's different interests and paths go. And then when you come back, you have all these new experiences to share. So
I still have dinner with 8 of my Art Center best friends. And one of them moved to Canada. He used to teach here, gigantic in the matte painting world. And he was my Art Center best friend. And the best part about that, Thomas, is down the road, 10 years from now, they're going to have a project that they want you to work on. And the best projects are the ones your friends invite you to work on because you want to kill it for them. You want to do your best work for them. And it's just an amazing thing. So friends for life. I have Art Center Friends for Life. We're meeting next Friday night for dinner, 8 of us. And it's keep that going. Excellent question. Excellent answer.
Honestly, I think the previous answers kind of conclude like what I was going to say. Like looking back, I would love to take more classes from like outside of entertainment. When I was here, I took like one class from graphic design. Loved it.
Yes.
And looking back, I would have like taken my time out and take more classes from like other disciplines. I think you like when you were taking it, you might not be conscious of like how it's going to help you, but later down the line, you know, you never know what skill you have that's end up going to be really helpful, right? And also, I think looking back, I would have taken my health a lot more seriously. If you went to school with me, I was a person who was crashing on school couches every night. Looking back, really unhealthy. And I think you just in general be more conscious about your health and you know, just like your eat good food and connection with people. Like those are very important. And like outside of just art, I think there's a lot more you can get away. You can take away from the school. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And time management's part of that as well. And I used to wake up Royce every night at midnight at the couch. Go home. Why are you here, Jim, at midnight? Erin, did you ever do an all-nighter?
I did it once for fun to support my friend.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you remember Sky?
Yes, I do.
He used to line up 3 chairs and sleep on them in the labs.
Uh-huh.
And I was I was hyped up on assignment in FAST, so I spent an all-nighter with him. And then after that, I was like, I'm never doing that again.
No.
I need my sleep. I'm too sensitive.
Yes. Yeah, because if I did an all-nighter, it would destroy me for a week. But if I got 10 minutes of darkness, I was okay. So, but in real life, you don't do all-nighters. It just doesn't go that way anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody calls you in the morning. Okay, Erin, same question, because I'm going to add a third part to that question as well once we get, once Lola answers it, because I think it's important for students to know that part of the answer to the question.
Wait, what's the third part?
Oh no, I'm gonna add on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna go back one more time.
Okay, got it. Okay, so my answer. I don't think I would have changed much. I think when I entered Art Center, I had quite a fire under my butt because I realized, okay, this is a really expensive education that I'm paying for, and I'm probably not going to go through a college experience again. And that mentality coupled with me just being a very type A person and also very nervous, I was very scared and motivated to succeed. And so, my first 2 years of Art Center, I really value that as a student. It's kind of like the safest position to be in to make as much mistakes as possible and learn. So for first and for 8 terms, right? So first to fourth term, I kind of dedicated that to being as proactive in trying as many opportunities as possible, taking classes that I wouldn't normally take, trying to find out my niche in entertainment. And thankfully, after a lot of classes and independent studies, I realized, okay, I probably want to go into visual development for feature animation or just 3D animation in general. And the last 4 terms that I spent was dedicated to building a robust portfolio for that. Because why is my mic doing that? Hopefully, okay, yes, thank you. Yeah, and I would take a lot of independent studies. I was kind of a diva during school. If there was a class I didn't want to take, I would try really hard and be as proactive as possible to get that waived for another class that I did want to take. And every class registration, I would sign in right at the dot to get the classes that I wanted. And so I don't really the downsides is I burned myself out. I agree with Royce. We should prioritize our health, get enough sleep, because a machine can't work if you don't take care of it. You got to take care of your temple or a machine of your body. But where was I going? I completely lost track of thought. Sorry.
During your time at Art Center, recommendations. Would you change anything differently?
I don't think so. I think.
And how late did you stay up last night? I'm just kidding.
Ooh, 2 a.m.
Did you really?
My friend had a birthday, so I was out all night.
Okay.
But I don't think I would have changed much. Though my anxiety throughout my Art Center experiences was exhausting, and then I went through periods of burnout and had to learn how to get out of it. The bright sides is I've learned how to maintain myself better. I've learned lifestyles that is more sustainable. I've learned how to deal with my anxiety, and and I'm quite grateful to be in the position that I'm in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anxiety never goes away. I get a call from a job and the anxiety kicks in. And then before I accept it, I just ponder over it and get anxiety ridden about it. And then once you take it, it all washes away.
Yeah, it gets better bit by bit. The more you go through similar situations, you learn how to handle it better.
Yes.
Yeah, so the challenges have like a bright side to it.
But if you're nervous and anxiety ridden, it just shows you care. That's how I feel.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so question again?
Same question?
Yes.
I think everyone gave really good answers.
Yes.
So I think I'll say the same. I wouldn't change anything major, but I'll say I'll probably connect with more people, talk to more people, because I've been working from home.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, basically, you're just looking at Teams meeting in a square.
Yep.
And it's hard to connect with people once you started working.
Yes.
Because you work with like specific group of people, like professionals, but it's really hard to, like meet new people and like learn from them, learn from each other, and like do sketches and stuff. So I would say if I were still at our center, I would definitely just go out there and just chat with people, connect with like your favorite artist at an event, and just talk to them more, just introduce yourself, just get your name out there, I would say. Because like once you started working, you're just in your cave every day. You're like, so today I talked to more people than like probably in a month. I was like working from home. So
And you're working from home because you live up north?
I live in Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a place, it's like it rains for 10 months a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm getting my vitamin D today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you still ride Ninja motorcycles?
I upgraded my bike to Triumph.
Oh.
So that's a 600cc now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You'll have to talk to Taylor if she's in the crowd. We have a motorcycle rider here as well. Big bikes.
Yay.
Big bikes.
ArtCenter bike gang.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to have you go in the back. So simple question. And Erin, you touched on it a little bit, that you went crazy. Lola, you're going to start, but you went crazy at working on your portfolio. What portfolio advice would you give students now and entering into the industry in this period of time?
Yeah, I'll say figure out what's your voice. What's like your like the burning creative desire, like you wanted to get out. What interests you the most? Like what's your like what gets you excited to explore? Show that through your portfolio. Because like I notice a lot of like not just like portfolio, but a lot of like movies, a lot of like games, they start to have like this homogenized look, like this universal look, especially when you go on like art website and stuff. You see a lot of like very similar stuff, but like what, like I want to see your different perspective, like what makes you you. So I'll say really show your like what you're you're thinking, your own unique perspective in your portfolio. Show what do you like to explore. So I think individuality is really big.
That's a great answer. Sai, different than your answer earlier about not wanting to conform to a studio. You're into character development, and it's such a great area to be in this industry. In character development, wardrobe crosses all boundaries: live action, animation, gaming. So you really have a good position in all three of those industries. And did you design your portfolio to be character driven? Because you have some great environments with characters and environments as well.
Yeah, I think it was like generalist, because I did everything. I put everything in my portfolio, from props, creature, just checklist.
Yes.
But I think that actually helped, because studio always want to hire one person, but can do everything.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah, but I'll say if your true passion is character design, don't try to just like spread yourself too thin. Just focus on what actually makes you excited. Because once you started working, it's actually very focused. Like the problem you solve every day is very focused. Because if you're a character person, the studio won't give you like, oh, you have to build this like whole town. It's actually, they will ask like in environment artists to do that. So yeah, I'll say, but if you like to explore everything, I'll say like when you're at ArtCenter, I'll say try to explore like more things, software, like the different ways to solve things. Because just as like they said, like the more mistake you make actually make you grow faster. So like the experiment phase is really important to figure out not just what's your thing, what's your like strongest suit, but also make you experience things more. So that's really big
Fantastic. Erin, expand. You mentioned in your last comment that you went into real portfolio frenzy building.
Yes, I really wanted to succeed after graduation just to prove my mom didn't make a mistake sending me here. But
You know, wait, can I add to that?
yeah.
So I felt the same. I don't know if it's Italian guilt, but at graduation, our graduation was a lot different than yours. I'd get a pat on the back and they'd say, "Go get him, Tiger." And my dad took the credit card away, my emergency credit card that was Thai food and stuff. But I felt the same way. I needed to do this. I needed to get it, and I love that you said that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like the portfolio advice that I have to give is to make a portfolio with as much intention and specificity as possible. The people that I've witnessed who have created a portfolio and actually landed a job, they were very intentional and specific with what they wanted. My friend, they wanted to work with Riot, so he researched a bunch of Riot portfolios, created a portfolio in like the Riot style, look of game style, basically created everything that the studio wanted to see to prove that he could fit into the pipeline well, and he succeeded. Had a friend who wanted to work at Disney, and then did his best due diligence to talk with working artists, see what kind of work that Disney visual development artists are making, really focused on good fundamentals of like rendering and lighting design because it's stylized realism. You need to be able to emulate that style in your art and just know every skill that needs to be present in the portfolio and to showcase it as clearly and as efficiently as possible. Yeah, so I feel like especially if you're like a pragmatic person and you know for sure the main priority is to kind of score a job right when you get out, it's good to kind of think about what studios want to, well, let me rephrase this. It's good to think about what studios are looking for in the portfolio and being very specific to that because it shows that you care and you really want the opportunity, and studios like that eagerness. Yeah, there was a visual development internship that I worked, and they kind of work in a 2D emulated 3D style. And so when I was looking for internship opportunities, I wanted to work with them. I created pieces that kind of emulated that style, and they really liked that. And I feel like that kind of contributed a lot to me getting my first interview when I cold emailed them. Also, they're a smaller studio, and I kind of encourage this for students to reach out to smaller studios because internship experiences in big studios, there's only like 1 or 2 positions and like 20,000 people apply to them or something like that. So yeah, just doing your research, finding studios that kind of have the style or the voice that you like or that you align with, and kind of approaching them through cold email usually works well. And yeah, they also like cheap labor. So like I think that internship I was earning like $12 an hour, but it broke me in. So I don't know.
But sometimes, like the studio in Italy, sometimes they pay more and
yeah.
and are more chill, like you said.
Yeah, I think that was my highest paying freelance so far.
Yeah.
And I only had to do like an email or 2 a week.
Wow. Love it.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Erin totally. I think be intentional with the portfolio, right? Like by submitting a portfolio, you're trying to show them you can do certain things. Like you don't want them to wonder if you can do it. And also, I guess this is my personal taste, but like if you don't like line arts, don't put it in there because if whoever's hiring you like your line art, you're gonna end up doing whatever you hate for however many years to come. Also, I think because I've seen a few portfolios in my days, I think just show more sketches. Like final renders are cool, but your ideas and your sketches are a lot more important for concept. Like to the point, I think I would pay for like 70%, 80% just sketches and ideas. Final renders show me 1 or 2. It's okay, but yeah.
Very cool. Excellent. Thomas, we've got about 15 more minutes. I do have a few more questions that I think are very important, but I think this is really important for students as well, because we do want to have a Q&A from the audience. Don't be shy, ask questions. You've got an incredible, talented group here that were in your shoes. And another wild thing that happened, because a lot of you were here during COVID. COVID was a renaissance for illustrators. Every illustrator on the planet was buried in work because they had so many IPs to fulfill, and it was a good period. And even Netflix cut 40 projects because they had an overwhelming library of new products. And Thomas, please go ahead.
Yeah. Are we doing the portfolio question, or are we
Yes,
switching
yes.
up to? Okay. So for portfolio advice, I mean, I have two minds about it. There's not really a right or wrong answer, but I would say, I guess there's wrong answers. I would say put your best work in your portfolio. Put your best pieces first. You know, people are going to tell you this, but for being on the hiring side, having creative directed on a live action feature film called Takeover, May 8th, it's coming out. That
Nice.
one, being on the hiring side, it's interesting. It's kind of like casting actors, and everybody's got different styles. Everybody's got a different personality. A lot of it comes down to, you know, the person's energy and are we going to vibe together? Do I think, you know, I'm going to enjoy seeing this person every day for, you know, X number of, you know, years sometimes, and spending all these hours with them. Are they reliable? Are they somebody who I can trust? And then, you know, that's one side of it. And the other side of it is the work. And I think, you know, we might even hear a range of perspectives here, but for me personally, I think, you know, get the basics done. So I like to tell students, you know, have a relatable story that I can, as from the hiring side, I like to understand, like, if you do some super original, crazy, unique story, but I don't have a context for it, they're really great illustrations or really great designs, but I might not understand them in the story context because you've developed the story. I'm probably not going to read your feature script or your IP script. If you give me a redesign of a well-known story or a classic, you know, fairy tale or something like that, that can give me a lot of context to how you think and how you design and how you approach that thinking. When you do that, you know, you don't have to do one or the other. It's not like your whole portfolio is just one project. You know, you can have one section that's a more well-known story, and you can have another section of your portfolio that is your own original stuff that's showing your style, showing your uniqueness as a concept artist. And the only thing I would say is to section, you know, if you do, let's say, character design, maybe that's 80% of your portfolio, as somebody said, and then, you know, 20% or 10% is something else. If you're more of a generalist, you're doing all these things, just have it on your website section so that people can easily hire you for a specific position. I've even heard some people say creating completely different sites, if they have, like, let's say, storyboarding and concept art portfolios, those will be two different websites so that they can send them to different people and it doesn't mix from a branding perspective.
Very cool. Lucas.
I think, what is, I know we're short on time, so I guess kind of piggybacking off of what Thomas was talking about, right? I think what, you know, the rest of the panelists have mentioned, I also agree with. Like, be mindful of what you're putting in your portfolio, because as someone involved in hiring, well, there's sort of like two tracks to it, right? In both cases, a lot of my career has been involved in small teams. And so if I'm looking for someone to bring on for long-term employment or full-time embedded in the studio, I'm looking for someone who's going to be able to be a generalist, be able to take on a lot of different types of tasks, not be afraid of, you know, taking on stuff that's not as pretty, right? Like, you're doing like little turnarounds of some dinky little lamp or a corner in a room. Like, I'm looking for people who are willing to embrace that, right? Stylistically, I'm actually more flexible on that. I think that it also depends on what your project is, but like for something like, if you're going for photorealistic, my team doesn't actually need you to render out all your concepts photoreal, because we know that the 3D artist can take it there. So what I'm really looking for is, can you design to help me solve the problems that we need to solve in our team? Whether that's through props, to answer gameplay. A lot of it's centered around gameplay. for when you're working in games. Sometimes like incorporating narrative, how are you able to manage that balance? And that's really what I'm looking for when I look at portfolios. With freelance or like short-term contract, it's a little bit more narrow in the search. Usually, if we're prepping for a contract, we will already know what kind of work we want to give out. And so our pool of candidates that we're looking at, we're a lot more stringent with the style. Like, can they design close enough to the form language that we're looking to maintain and keep up? And usually, to be honest, I wouldn't bloat your portfolio with a ton of stuff. Like if I can find like 3 examples in your work or in your body of work that are reflective of what we're looking for, that's usually enough to be like, all right, we'll consider them. And then it's a matter of kind of hitting people up and seeing who's available.
Excellent answer. Sai.
And to this day, I don't upload 99% of my work because I found that the second I upload an image, someone sees that and says, "Can you do that for me too?" And I don't want to do that again. So I only upload a JPEG if I want to do that again. So look at your portfolio in the same exact way. Less technically speaking, why are you here? Why do you want to be an artist? Forget concept art. Delete that silly word. That doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a concept artist. You're just a creator. You're not a painter, Photoshop, Blender expert. You're beyond these really small boxes that the portfolio might be trying to aim for. What if you're a director, a writer, a dancer? Art doesn't know just one bound. So when you're looking at your portfolio, inquire, what makes my heart pump? Not what do I think is cool. What I think is cool is what Instagram just hashtag yesterday, right? What makes my heart pump? Just gotta feel into your chest. It's gonna tell you, right? Because when it's pumping, time goes away. Anxiety? What is that? But if you're in the anxiety, then you're gonna strategize with your mind. Think too much, feel too little. What makes your heart pump? And follow that bit by bit. Now, in the beginning, you might be a little anxious. My heart's pumping, but I don't know if I can really pull this off. Well, maybe it doesn't have to be always art. Maybe making some tea in the morning is going to make your heart pump. Maybe watching the sunrise, maybe watching your favorite TV show, maybe going for a walk. Why isn't that art too? Why is art only on the canvas? So what to do with your portfolio? Only do what your heart genuinely pumps to do and watch what happens. You'll be a little crazy, you know?
Love that answer. Love that answer. Just keep the mic. Okay, kind of real fast. And on top of that, your influence. Who influenced you as a student or even to this day is a professional influence on you?
I was really lucky while I was at ArtCenter. My department chair at the time, Tim Flattery, was really good friends with Sid Mead.
Yes.
And so he just saw me as this kid that just did not agree with any professor, any way of doing anything. He's like, "You're crazy. You got to meet my friend." And so I had done a mentorship with Sid for about 2 years, and I just went to his house. I thought I was going to learn how to draw like Sid Mead. That was my ego, like, oh, I'm going to be the next Sid Mead. No, he's sitting and talking to you about life.
Mm-hmm.
He's pointing at the reflections in the water on this beautiful pool. And he's just talking to me about the beauty of the world, the beauty of love, human relationships. He was talking to me about art the whole time. So that was the kick I needed. I also stuck in a very specific way of existing that I was always anxious. Anxiety was a result of trying to be somebody I was not. Anxiety is not the problem. Anxiety is a friend that's telling me something. So if it wasn't for Sid at that time, I probably would have stayed in that very sort of arrogant, narrow view of like, I've got to be the best concept artist to just land this job so I can eat, so I can just eat.
I had the same experience with Sid. And my friend, my Art Center best friend, was his assistant. And Sid would love to have students come hang out. And I had the exact same experience. Love hearing that. You had that as well. Lucas, inspirations, and we'll just kind of come across. Ken will let me know if definitely want Q&A for sure. Go ahead, Lucas.
As a student, I was very fortunate that within my class, we had quite a diverse group of people. Thomas knows he TA'd for us. One of them, her name was Christina. She actually was on this panel last year, but she was a huge inspiration to me. She was coming in, a lot of us were coming in with like, oh, we want to be like concept artists for sci-fi movies, games, stuff like that. But she came in wanting to pursue visual development in animation. And I think what was inspiring was really just seeing her take on a lot of the projects that we would be assigned. She came into it with a lot of heart and really pushing for character and feeling that I think a lot of us it was foreign to a lot of the rest of us in that class. And that really changed how I tackled a lot of the classwork that I would be taking on. It was really inspiring to see her vision. And I think that still sticks with me today.
Great. Thomas, I apologize. It's time for Q&A, and I hate cutting you off like that. Questions? We'll go over to the microphone. Anybody who wants to ask a question, go over to the mic, and do not be shy. This is an incredible, talented group, and it's important that you ask questions. Thomas, sorry.
No worries at all.
Okay. Okay, one thing also, because on the Chris Happelhan's panel, just make your questions so we can get everybody's questions in, kind of short and right to the point, and direct it to whoever you want to, or the panel, and go ahead. Leo.
Should be real quick. My question is about portfolios. So I'm kind of struggling with my portfolio at the moment because I feel like it's a little bit all over the place because I do a little bit of everything at the moment. Should I have like a single site or something that has everything, or should I have like a link tree that links to like several different portfolios that pertain to different things, or something better?
I can go first, sure. I think from my perspective, you're usually going to have traditionally success kind of branding yourself towards a specific studio. That's one way to do it. Or you're so unique in yourself that people are reaching out to you to grab you specifically as a unique artist. So I would decide, if you've got animation and live action and stuff, and I'm one to talk, I've kind of bounced around all those industries with a general portfolio like that. I found some success there, but I've found people had a lot more stability if they were kind of locked in a specific direction, and then they were basically telling the world, this is the kind of work I can do, and being okay with like, I don't have to do everything, and I'm just going to focus on, these things that I truly love.
Kind of just like centering it, like focusing on one thing, and then that's what I make my portfolio about.
I would say for me, I'm like a viz dev. I used to have viz dev work. I used to have live action work in my portfolio. Now it's all kind of viz dev geared for my portfolio. I would say in my opinion, that's usually the way I would pick like a direction you want to go in. If you want to go into animation, you're going to build a portfolio that's going to be, hitting what those needs are. If you're going into games, that might be a slightly different portfolio. And so I would kind of gear it in the direction you want to go. But if you have a very varied interests, yeah, building separate sites for each could work.
Next question.
Hi, I wonder like during the time like we stay in our center, do you guys like recommend us like you use I would say like 4 term to explore ourselves and then like using like another 4 term for like I would say preparing for our portfolio or just like we do it as soon as possible?
Right.
Oh, could you photos? You said.
Portfolios.
So
Oh,
I think the question is developing a portfolio. Should you start it now, or should you focus on like skill building on a separate term, right?
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Oh, it's always good to start early. Yeah, because when you make a portfolio, I feel like you learn. It's like doing a very specific project. You improve your skills faster when you set like if there's more intentionality and specificity in whatever project you want to start. I started my portfolio like in 4th term and then obviously by the end of graduation, I didn't exactly have the 4th term work in there, but it helped me learn a lot. Of like, okay, I tried things, I failed. This actually works better. Let me focus on like this story narrative, this style, because it works better for me. So I always encourage people to start earlier than later. Yeah, you learn a lot. Yeah.
Of course, thank you.
I also think it depends on what term you're right now. Like I think up until like term 4, term 5, you can just try everything out and see what you like, and then after that, I think the last 2-3 terms when you actually put your final portfolio together. So
To piggyback off what they're saying, that and every single class you're taking is helping you develop that portfolio. It's not the other way around, right? Like that class is serving you. So I'm in a vehicle class. I'm not there to design vehicles. I got a vehicle in my project. Cool. I get to learn how to do that for my project in this class. I'm not trying to get an A in this class. I'm trying to design my vehicle in my project. It's a whole different ballgame because then you're passionate. And that's why it ends up like kind of appealing to people because they don't care about the technical aspect of it. They feel something when they look at it and they're like, who are you? Yeah.
That's super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, great answers. Okay, next question.
Hi, I'm Vivek Nori. I'm a 2nd term animation student, and I really like to appreciate like what Lola said about like being individual, and I always agree with that. And I do see like a lot of people like it's like a sort of a cut and paste style to it, and there's no individuality. And like artists are supposed to like show their like way of thinking and how they perceive like their characters and then their setting. And I always like appreciate your like, why are you here? Like, because I'm here because I think of myself as a storyteller and like a person who likes to write stories and give characters to life and make it more relatable to the audience, but not a specific set of people. I like to entertain like a worldwide audience. So, and I always felt like for my 1st term and my 2nd term that I always felt ostracized because of the way I think and the way I draw with my peers, and they look at me funny. And then there's like this group where you have to like where they accept one another, and I'm like sort of like the guy that's like standing there and just looking at them, just like I'm there having friends, but I'm not really part of the conversation. I would like to, but there's not like we're different in many different ways. So this is just about like standing out in college and also portfolios, because I heard from my teachers that a lot of people like skim through the portfolios when they're reviewing it. But how do you like really stand out as like a person, as an artist, and as like when you're making your portfolio and like looking for a job? Like I'm just asking in general.
First, I gotta say you're very brave. The more cringe you are, the more you are. We call it cringe for a reason. It sticks out. And then suddenly people think it's cool. And then it's not cringe anymore. It's kind of weird, right? Yeah. So the discomfort that you're illuminating here, you're really brave to speak about that. So thank you. There is no college. There is no student body. There is no portfolio to get a job. These are in the future. There's only this cringe thing you gotta really want to do right now, and I really like it, and I don't know why nobody else likes it. And I would that. Keep doing that. Be cringe. Be insane. Be madly in love with what makes your heart race, and get some sleep and feed yourself.
Because the thing is, I really love old cartoons like Looney Tunes, MGM, and a lot of those instead of the crappy modern cartoons that everybody always like associates with, and then that's why I'm kind of ostracized. But I kind of get what you mean, like be yourself, like stand out as like who you are as a person and an artist.
You don't need to try to stand out. If you're ostracized, you are standing out. Sorry to tell you.
Okay.
Congratulations. Just keep doing it. You're doing everything right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be weird, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about portfolio?
It's the same answer.
Oh, same answer?
The portfolio is a result of that.
Okay.
The portfolio is, I know I sound crazy because I am. The portfolio is a result. The blossom on the tree is a result of the nutrients and the love and the care that the sun gives the tree. The tree's not sitting there like, I gotta make these blossoms. It's just being itself. Be yourself.
Can I add something?
Sure.
I think to Saiful's point of like, do what makes your heart race. I think that is part of what makes a unique, like, strong voice in your portfolio. The strongest portfolios I've seen are people that create artwork that they genuinely love and it has subject matters that they love and they're like drawn to, spiritually connected to. Because I feel like when you're into something, that's when you make the best work. So just lean into the type of artwork that or subject matters that you love. For me, it's like food, pretty woman, neon colors, that type of stuff. And my portfolio has a lot of that. And I've been recognized for it.
And you show like you say like who your inspiration is, and my inspiration is Chuck Jones, like, you know, a director, a very famous director, and he was like my very first famous director as a kid of 7, and as a kid of 7, that's when I really started to study him and the way he directs and writes his characters. And you know, right now I'm reading his book Chuck Amuck, and there's like this quote, like what you said, be yourself, like just pursue like the just don't be like common, don't be like everyone else, just be but it was a good quote. It's just like similar to what you said.
It takes a lot of energy to not be yourself. It takes much less energy to be yourself. It takes a lot of monster drinks and coffee for me to not be myself.
Okay, Sai, we gotta squeeze in a couple more questions. Yeah. Great question. Excellent answers.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm a graphic design student.
For the next few questions, keep them simple so we can squeeze in as many as possible.
During your college life, did you guys ever have a fail-safe plan in case the path you took didn't make it?
No way. No, I was all in.
I was gonna make the plan if I failed.
Yeah, I think you put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, your whole life you're going to be gambling on yourself, or you're going to be losing. So, yeah, I think try your best, put everything into it, and then, you know, when the chips fall, and you know if you don't succeed, or what your definition of success is, that's fine. You know, you can pick yourself up and just do the best you can with the tools that you have available to you, I would say.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Juliana. I'm second term COSM, and this question's sort of for Erin, but anyone who wants to pitch in. So, like, you were talking about how your first jobs in freelance were kind of not well paying, or like maybe like they had to take a chance on you, or you had to take a chance on like the people hiring you. I was wondering, since I was doing freelance since I started ArtCenter, it's really hard to balance that while you're studying. And I was wondering, like, if you just say yes to everything because it might lead to something bigger in the future, or like what are like some things you would like actually turn down just to like make sure you don't overwork yourself or burn out?
I think I had it a bit easier than you because all the freelance opportunities I took was mainly during the summer times or times when I wasn't doing term, because I knew that if I did that, I would explode. So you're very powerful. Could you repeat the last part of the question again?
Oh yeah, like should you just say like yes to everything that comes your way to see like if it'll get into something bigger, or like what would you actually turn down?
I think usually I try and scope whether an opportunity will be worth it for me if it aligns with my creative vision, if it fits into my schedule, yada yada. By just trying to ask a lot of questions. I used to say yes to everything, and then I'd work jobs that weren't very worth it, or I didn't make very good portfolio pieces, or they were just very hard to work with. So it's kind of like learning by getting burnt type of experience. But I wouldn't necessarily say yes to everything. I mainly said yes to opportunities that aligned with like my future vision of where I saw myself professionally, and tried to prioritize that as much as possible.
I would add a piece of advice that I got when I first started job hunting was if you have, obviously this is contingent on you having like multiple offers, right? You pick the job that's going to get you your next job after that. However that is, like, I mean, a part of that is, I think, like what Erin was saying, you do your research, you understand what you're possibly going to be involved in, who you'll be working with, what's the project. There's a lot of different ways that, you know, you can bounce from project to project onto the next thing, whether that's through people or through your work, through your portfolio. There's just a lot of different things to weigh, but that piece of advice, I think.
Jackson, last question. Juliana, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jackson, and I'm a graduating concept student. I was wondering if you had any advice for someone who's made a portfolio that is not geared towards a specific studio, because I have my own style that I like, and I know what I like, but there's not a specific studio in mind that I like heavily gravitate towards. So I was wondering if you had any tips generally about that.
I think that's perfectly fine. I would say that the thing that has defined my experiences with any project has always just been the people that I work with. I could care less now, like what the actual project is. I care more about who it is that we end up working with, because I think you mentioned games.
Yeah,
games,
character concept.
Yeah, games by nature are incredibly multidisciplinary. You'll be working with all kinds of people, engineers, designers, 3D modelers, writers, game designers, all sorts of people, animators, all sorts of people. I think having, you know, a portfolio that you like is probably the best thing for you right now. Just like being able to put, you know, I think everyone here has more or less said the same thing, right? Like putting your best foot forward as well as being yourself, so that when people come by and they look through your portfolio, whether they're skimming through it or they're looking intently, if they pick up on it and they like it, you're getting picked up for something you enjoy doing and you want to do. Otherwise, you'll just be really grumpy, and that would be sad.
And see if there's any studios or clientele that work in a style that you're working in, and try and reach out to them or something like that.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thanks, Jackson. For me, one last thought. To me, the entertainment industry, live action, animation, theater, gaming, is the ultimate form of art. And my favorite artist said this. It is the best form of art because you're collaborating with writers, storyboard artists, viz dev artists, concept artists, wardrobe, costume, architects, engineers, set dressers, set designers, lighting. It just goes on beyond the spectrum. What it takes to make a live action movie, an animated film, a game. It's a collaboration of art with some of the best. And I think it is the best form of art. And that's a quote from Alberto Miego, one of my favorites. And I agree with him completely. It's the greatest form of art. And what a crew. I could go on for an hour and just ask you more questions. And great answers, great questions, great turnout. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, yeah, thanks to our panel and thanks to everyone for coming to NTEX. I'm sorry we didn't get to the last questions, but I'm sure you'll find the panelists out in the lobby afterwards. And I guess that's it. Thanks for coming.
Is it on? Oh yeah, look at all their websites and Instagram. This group is incredible.